Today's date is March the 18th. Why is that an issue? I'm sure many of you know. Since I've been gone from it, you've all gone crazy. Absolutely crazy, and it's because of one guy. And his name is...
Help me, please, it's Pep.
We're back to Forsaken.
I think this guy might be schizophrenic. I don't know about you.
A Roblox game where you can currently play up to 4 killers, each with the jobs of brutally murdering any survivors in their rounds. We're talking about Mr. Doe, John Forsaken, a 4-star difficulty killer with effective zoning abilities and pretty fast movement. Yet he can be a bit clunky, especially for newer players. Everyone probably knows this guy. One of the first Roblox accounts ever made on the platform, John Doe was created as a testing account for the game. Now, a defected part of old Roblox code completely corrupts his mind and body, turning him into an unstoppable, ravaging beast. Completely fine with crushing anyone in sight. Don't play Roblox on March 18th, as they say. Let's start with stats. Mr. Doe has 1,500 health, the most out of anyone in the entire game, as well as a sprint speed of 27.5, which is 3.5 more than the average survivor, but a bit less than other killers. Though the rest of his stats like stamina and stamina drain are about the same compared to other killers. What makes Mr. Doe so different compared to other killers is that he has 2 passives, both of which being very threatening and always active. His first passive is called Natural Malevolence. John Doe leaves a trail of corruption down on the ground wherever he walks. Any survivor that steps in it is given the Corrupted 2 debuff for 3 seconds, dealing a bit of damage to them and causing their body to glow, which also makes them a bit easier to track, I guess. It serves as a very useful and quite punishing output of damage without the need of even attacking to counter survivors who get too close, ones like Guest or Shedletsky, who typically have to get close in order to get value from their kit. Survivors avoiding your M1s will also tend to try looping around you, which can end up getting them corrupted. One tip is to try maximizing the space that Malevolence hits. Spin around any survivors in end lag and make sure they're taking every bit of damage before the chase continues. John's second passive is called Unstoppable, a simple trait that prevents John from being stunned any longer than 2.175 seconds. Along with that, he'll become enraged and receive the Speed 2 buff after any stun, effectively weakening their use, since that distance the survivor gained from the stun can then quickly be diminished as John gains the speed to catch up. That is, if he has enough stamina. Stunning isn't completely useless though against Mr. Doe, since he's immobile while using the ability Corrupt Energy, which I'll get into next. This means the ability can be interrupted by a well-executed stun, throwing off the killer's strategy despite the speed boost. Overall, this passive isn't too complicated, and it just makes him stronger, as well as acting as a counter to some of the more annoying abilities that the survivors use. As I just said, Corrupt Energy is John's first ability, and basically the most important part of his kit. He's able to summon 26 fairly large spikes outwards in a row in front of him that can be aimed wherever John's looking.
Mortify, corrupt energy. Just a single one left.
Dealing about 12 damage each to any survivors hit by them, as well as giving him a small speed boost when it hits. While Corrupt Energy is good for ranged attacks, especially if you manage to hit a survivor with multiple spikes, its second main value comes from blocking off certain areas and acting as an aimable wall. Some small tips: try not to use Corrupt Energy in an active chase. Unless the survivor is clearly running low on stamina, it's actually quite hard to hit the target if they're running around, and you'll lose distance from the end lag. If they're unable to run though, typically it's a good idea to hit them with it, especially if they're behind a wall, thinking they're safe. Also, try your best not to block yourself off on accident, since it's pretty embarrassing. Sharp turns while aiming the spikes also tend to create gaps in them large enough for survivors to slip through, so just keep that in mind. Digital Footprint is his second ability, and one that I see very few people use well. John is able to place up to 3 shadow traps on the map, each one inflicting slowness 2 for 15 whole seconds to any survivor who steps on it. Only one person can be affected per trap. Upon the trap being activated, John also gains an increase of speed for 15 seconds as well, and the target and John are highlighted for again 15 seconds. If you're near a survivor when they trigger a footprint, it is genuinely over for them. Not only do they completely lose the ability to outrun you, but they're also a highlighted target for any corrupt energy spikes. Place traps in spots that survivors prioritize going through, like choke points or pathways leading into popular looping spots. Even if a trap is activated and you're nowhere near it, it's still a free speed boost, and the cooldown isn't even long at all. Whenever you get the chance, just place a trap down. Even on a map like Planet Voss, where it's pretty open and hard to zone, placing a few traps anywhere helps. 404 Error is the last ability, and simply reveals and highlights all survivors in the round. Just use it when you've lost someone, or when looking for the closest target. I know this video was pretty short and didn't go too in-depth, so if you guys have any tips, I guess you can leave those here as well, and maybe I'll give more tips when I hit milestone 100 eventually. So thanks for watching, expect more Forsaken stuff, bye bye. A tree!